What's up, weirdos? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Felicia. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. And today we are talking about The Babadook by Jennifer Kent. So I saw this movie when it first came out and I hadn't rewatched it since, and then I rewatched it to do this video and whoa, like this is one of my favorite horror movies. Like it has to be, because I think it's just so good. Like when I was watching it, I was like, how have I not watched this 100 times? It's brilliant. Let me tell you why. So first of all, this film is about a grief-stricken mother whose husband died and she is left with this child she's raising alone. It's not going great. And then when she's telling her son bedtime stories, he finds a book that says, you guessed it, The Babadook. She reads it to him and then the Babadook enters the house and, you know, typical havoc takes place. The thing I love about this movie is that it is dealing with very complicated topics such as motherhood and grief. So first of all, Essie Davis, who plays Amelia the mother, she is playing a flawed mother. She's doing her best to take care of her son, but they're dealing with a pretty complicated situation and thus have a pretty complicated relationship. I have never had children, but for me, one of the most stressful scenes in the movie was when she's in the car and he's like kicking the back of her seat and screaming his head off. Like I was like, this is a horror movie. Like it is the most stressful scene. But whenever the kid's in danger, it's like even more horrible because it's like, right, like he's a kid and like mother's love looks a lot of different ways. Like it doesn't have to look like one specific thing. And that's sort of the thing, right? She's dealing with this feeling that she doesn't have the love for her son that she sees other mothers have. And she loves him and she takes care of him, but she doesn't have that same like bond or connection that she understands other mothers to have. And so she feels awful about it, and honestly, she truly is doing her best. But like I said, complicated circumstances. And this movie is somehow not judgmental towards her. Maybe some of the other characters in the movie are, but the movie itself is not. And then we're talking about grief, right? We're talking about a woman that is dealing with the loss of the love of her life. And so the Babadook in this movie is like sort of representing that grief, right? And I'll talk about this a little more in the spoilers. But the way in which she learns how to deal with this presence in the house and what it does to her throughout the movie is sort of like someone going through the stages of grief in a way. And so in this movie, grief, just like a monster, you can either face head on and learn to either live with it or whatever you have to do, or you can let it overtake you and have the power in your life now. Now, of course, I have to talk about the cast because they're amazing. Essie Davis, who plays Amelia, is so raw in this movie. Like, I love how she portrayed this character. She has to go through so much, and through each emotion and every arc of the character, she is just the raw version of it. I also love that they basically have no makeup on her. Like you can just really see her like as the true woman, like the truth of who she is, the true mother going through this entire journey, and I just love that. And then Noah Weissman, who plays Samuel the son, is like perfectly cast in this role because he is so loud, so rambunctious, so expressive, and he has this amazing ability to be this really annoying, loud child that is just like struggling to communicate what he's trying to get out. And then he also has the ability to like be this like grounded, strong warrior for his mother. And that kid, I was just like, whoa, good acting. And the last thing I'll say is just like, this movie is really scary. Like, I found it really, really scary. Even the second time I watched it, because I kind of forgotten like everything that was gonna happen. And I was like, oh my God, like covering my eyes, like very stressed out. Very scary movie. Like, first of all, like, yes, the Babadook imagery is like somewhat scary, but what's so much scarier is what it does to the mother. And that, for me, I was like, this is like, I feel the fear that the director wanted to instill in me. Like, yes, the Babadook imagery is creepy and weird and like, yes, but what's so much scarier to me is this like volatile relationship between mother and son, and what the grief and the Babadook like create inside the mother is so much scarier. I just think it's like, it's just so good. Now, let's get to some ratings. The scare, I'm giving it a 4 because I was very scared even the second time watching this movie. The gore, a 2. There's not that much gore in the movie, honestly. Cheese, 0. And overall, this one gets another 5. I feel like I'm giving a lot of 5s out this month, but it's because I picked some of like the really awesome female-led horror movies, and this is another one. 5. It gets a 5. So I do want to give like just like a couple interesting facts before I get into spoilers. And one is that I found out that Babadook in Hebrew actually means he is coming for sure, which I think is so funny because that is like the Babadook, that is grief. It's like it is coming for you for sure. The second thing is, so William Friedkin, who is the director of The Exorcist, said the following: "I've never seen a more terrifying film than The Babadook." Same. And then last thing, so they actually made Babadook books, like the storybook that's like red with the pop-ups. They made that when the film was coming out for like, you know, press whatever, and I was like, oh my god, I have to find one, I have to find one. And they're on eBay, but for like $500, and I was like, I don't want one that bad. But they do look really, really cool. If anyone has one, please send me pictures. I want to know what it looks like. And now, some spoilers. And by some, I mean one. I'm really just gonna talk about the ending, which I'm so obsessed with, which is Amelia. They have the Babadook trapped in the basement, and she just goes and feeds it whatever she needs to, and she deals with it, and then she comes back up and locks the door. And that is just like grief. That is just like, that's what it is. It's like, it is this thing that will always be with you, and then sometimes you have to go and you gotta give it a little dinner and you gotta settle it down, and then you come back up and you're like, all right, I'll see you when you come up for me again. And I was just like, right, like that's what that is. And so I just think that Jennifer Kent did such an amazing job writing and directing this movie. It's just so good. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. It is like worth every moment staring at your TV. But that's it. That's it. I will see you in the next one. Have a nice screen. Bye.